Hello guys, Elias5891 here with another KTANE module tutorial. This time we're going over the double O module. Uh, this is a non-edge work module. It has a very interesting aesthetic and I personally really enjoy it for uh, reasons that I'm not going to go into. But here's your module. You got a number display, 4 movement buttons, and a submit button, or so you think. The objective is to get the display to say double O and then submit your answer. How do you do that? Well, theoretically, these buttons are going to move you in this grid here. I'm kind of zoomed in on the manual page. Notice we're at 20 right now. So we look at this grid, we figure out where 20 is. 20 is located right here. So, as we scroll, theoretically, buttons are going to move me left to right within this little thick 3x3 square. So 20, 84, 63, 20, 84, 63. They could move me up and down within that little grid. 20, 0, 1, 45, 20, 0, 1, 45. They could move me to the same relative position in the little grid, but shift me grids. So I'd move from 21 to or 20 to 51 to 42, since they're all top right corners. Or it'll do the same thing, moving me up and down the large grid, so 20, 37, 83. That's theoretically what these buttons do. But the trick to this module is the button functions have been randomized. Of these 5 buttons, one of them is the submit button, and the other 4 are movements in one of those directions, but I don't know which one is which. As far as the submit button goes, as we scroll through here, you'll see anything that starts with a 0, be it the correct answer of double 0, or any of these other 0 somethings, they're all going to display the same thing on my little LED here, and I'll demonstrate that as we get to 1. So let's start with 20. Let's just pick a button at random. Let's say this one. That one toggled me to 51, 42. So that's toggling me which direction? This way. Now, if my goal is to get to double 0, this one is the closest. That one's at least got me in the middle of the 3 big columns. So I want to stay at 20 as far as this button is concerned. And then I'm done with that button. I don't want to look at it anymore. So let's go to another button. This one. Notice it made a strike sound. That's my submit button. But since I did not have a number starting with a 0, I don't actually get a strike. It just makes the strike sound. Very satisfying sound. Don't get to hear that very often without repercussions. So this one here, the little dark up, the black up and down arrow, I'm going to think of it as, that's my submit button. Let's use the white left and right. 20, 37, 83. 20, 37, 83. Well, of these, 37 gets me in the right main box here, so I want 37. Oops, that's not the right. There we go. 37. So we're going to stay there. Try another button. This one's going to move me from 37 to 72 to 56. 37, 72 to 56. Of these, I want to get in this row, so 56 is what I need. And I've only got one button I haven't tried. 56, 21, and this is what I was talking about. Any number that starts with a 0 shows the 0, but then it kind of glitches out this other number. That way you can't just be like, oh, well, there's 0 something, that must be double 0 and submit. No, you actually do have to figure out where you are in this grid and which 0 you're at. But this one, 21, 56, double 0. That is this one, the actual double 0. So we go to double 0, we hit what we found was the submit button earlier, and we're done with this one. A little tricky, so you may have noticed some of them, well, let's look at this one. 52 is where we're starting. So let's find 52. It's here. The first button moves me not double 0, but 0 something. 60. 52. So 52, there's 60, so it's moving me to this 0, 0, 6. Is that the 0 glitchy I want? Well, no, that's 0, 6. That's not actually 00. So I'm going to kind of toggle around, and you'll notice that if I happen to find the submit button, nope, nope, must be this one. I actually do get a strike this time because I am on a 0 something. So when I get to the third one, I'll demonstrate how you might avoid that. But of these three numbers, we want to be on 52. So let's toggle this one, 52, 0, 10. So 52, 10, and 0, 4 in this case. Of these, I want to be in the middle of my grid, of my little box, so I want to go to 10. And you'll notice that one of these, sometimes they move me left to right, sometimes they move me right to left, sometimes up to down, sometimes down to up. That part is randomized, just knowing which, how it moves you in general. Left to right, up to down, big grid, little grid. That's really the focus that you're going to want to pay attention to. So we have 10. We've already done these two buttons, so let's do this one. 10, 85, 20, 28. 10, 85, 28. 10, 85, 28. So we want 85 because that puts us in the right box. And then the last button should take us 85, 14, 0. And that's the 0 we want. So how do you avoid getting a strike on this one? Two strategies. One is never hit a new button if you're on a 0. Which most of the time, if you're going to like the optimal spot, you won't. But let's say you started at 40. Of these three, 0, 1 is going to be the one you want to go to. But it's kind of dangerous to do that if you don't know which button is the submit button. So one strategy is to, if say this was my case, I'd say, okay, remember this button. We're going to go up and maybe do this one next. Or find some other button that works. And then I'm going to go back to that other button and do the movement on that, in that general area. What most people I've seen seem to do, though, is that at the very start, you got 60, you know it's a safe number. They're going to scroll through each button 3 times so that they always go back to 60. And then they find the strike that way. So that's my strike button. Let's solve one more. Just finish this bomb off. We are starting at 60. And since 00 is in the center of the big box, of the little box, and the center big box, we're always going to want to go to the center of whichever dimension we're moving in. So this was my, yeah, that's my submit. So let's start with this one. 52 blank 60. 52 is the one in the center, so we want that one. 52 0 10. 52 0 10. 10's in the middle of this dimension of this set of options, so we're going to do 10. 10 85 28. I think this is the way we went last time. 85's in the middle, so that's the one I want. And then 14 blank. So that is 00. You can read the manual here, but actually a lot of it is intentionally misleading. It talks about what the buttons theoretically do, and then here in the note it says they get swapped around. So it does explain what each button does, but not which button does it, because that's random each time. But that's 00 in a nutshell. I think that's it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, leave them down in the bottom, in the comment section below. Otherwise, until next time, this has been Elias. Thank you so much for watching. Have fun and don't explode. Alright, bye.